Morning. Oh gosh. Oh, there aren't many things that would make me set my alarm for 5 o'clock on a Sunday, which is my day off. But it's an exciting day because I must be mad. Today I'm off to the Royal Artillery Barracks in Woolwich in London to do Ant Middleton's Mind Over Muscle Day Camp. For anybody who's seen the Channel 4 series SAS Who Dares Wins, amongst other things, that is where you'll recognise the name Ant Middleton from. I need to get up, have some breakfast, have a stretch because it's going to be a physical day, and then once I'm feeling a little bit more compass mentis, I'll say some more.
So, I'm ready to set off. I realise there's probably no point having any makeup on, but it's my game face, and I figured if I'm going to end up looking like a human beetroot, which I'm sure I will, knowing me, I may as well have some eyebrows to go with it, so there you go. This is the last day of the 4 dates that were organised this year for Mind Over Muscle. There were 2 in June and 2 in July. This is the last one. I think the tickets went on sale in May, but I can't remember when I heard about it. It was a little bit after that. And the first thing I did was message my best friend and say, do you want to do this? Thinking she would say yes, but she couldn't. So then my default reaction was, oh, I can't do it if I haven't got my wingman with me. And then I thought, wait a minute. About 10 minutes later, I signed up. I thought, this whole day is about overcoming fears, pushing your boundaries. There are going to be talks on mental and physical health, on nutrition. It's all about tapping into your resources that maybe you don't realise you have, and about facing fear. And one of my fears is going to something like this on my own. Awful feeling when you walk into a party and you don't know anybody there and you're just kind of meandering around hoping to catch somebody's eye. It's my idea of hell. So that's one of my fears. So that's why I signed up, amongst wanting to see if I could push myself physically and learn the tools to do that. So I'm facing my fears. Oh, I kind of know how the day's going to go, but I don't know specifically what's going to happen. And again, it's the fear of the unknown. I have no idea. Oh, I guess I'll just fill you in when I'm done. Because I'm hardly going to be carrying this camera around with me. I'm going to have other things to think about, like surviving. So, here we go. I am absolutely done. I'm absolutely done. I've got sand in my bits from holding up a sandbag. I've got a bit of a dodgy ankle from landing on it, strangely. That was hard. That was hard, especially for somebody like myself who doesn't really do cardio. I like weights. Yeah, anything like that I enjoy, but cardio not so much, and there was so much of it. There was so much of it. I was absolutely overheating, but brilliantly organised. They made sure everybody, you got told off if you didn't have a bottle of water in your hand and you have to do burpees or press-ups. You always had to have water in your hand. So well organised, lovely assistance to Ant Middleton, the rest of the staff who are Marines and all sorts. Just brilliant people. He is so lovely. He's friendly and he kind of did a few things, and God, he's fast. Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting to see where my strengths and weaknesses lie. You know, some people don't mind running. I would rather hold a sandbag over my head. And it turns out I'm pretty good at waddling. That waddling move where you kind of sit down on your haunches, on your heels, and then you have to walk. We had to do that for ages. Anyway, I really need to get home. I'm absolutely exhausted. I'm pretty disgusting. But I've met some lovely people today, and this will definitely be happening again because I think it's been extremely successful, so I highly recommend it. I might say another couple of things once I'm back in the land of the living. I can feel myself going boo and flatlining, so I really need to get home. Okay, but I survived. Yay! Just. So, what else can I tell you about this incredible day before I turn in for the night? It's, what is it? 11:30 p.m, quite early for me. I had some dinner and I fell asleep on the couch, which was a big mistake because I woke up, I wondered why I couldn't move. Oh dear. Today was, aside from anything else, amazing value for money, and I think it's important to say that. There were about 200 people there, I reckon, and I absolutely acknowledge that £175 is a lot of money. I didn't have that to hand, so to speak. I dipped into my savings to pay for it, but it is a lot of money. But when you break it down by hours, the day was from 9 AM until 5 PM. When you think about Ant Middleton himself, all his staff, all the medics, there were lots of people involved in making a day like today happen. It's a it was a very, very well-oiled machine. So when you break it down hour to hour, people pay that and a lot more to listen to a motivational speaker or a life coach. You're getting all of that experience. And he was very hands-on during the day. It's not like he popped up at the beginning to say hi and like jogged around for 5 minutes and then went off to put his feet up somewhere. He was in the thick of it. We were all eventually after what they called a warm-up. It wasn't really a warm-up. It was a full-on session before lunch that absolutely, for me personally, wiped me out for the rest of the day. But at the end of that session, they split us into 4 different groups. And he was, for the rest of the day, in and amongst those 4 groups, constantly coaching, relaying information that he's learned through his life, through his experiences. We're not just talking, you know, little experiences. We're talking somebody who has seen and experienced a life that I could never possibly begin to understand. And you're getting all of that experience throughout the day, which, that's valuable stuff. So yes, it is incredibly good value for money. It was interesting because at the end of the day, lots of people were asking people, did you enjoy it, you know? And so many people did. And so many people say that they'll go back and do it again when it happens again. I'm not sure about me. I'm sure lots of bodies will be very stiff tomorrow. I think the nature of today goes against the grain physically of what I've known my whole entire life. I have danced my whole life. I trained at 16 for 3 years professionally. I worked professionally for over 20 years in that kind of arena. And that in its own way was brutal, extremely disciplined, but it was a way of moving my body that my muscles understand. And it was anaerobic dance. If you're in a show, for example, dance tends to be, in that context, short, sharp bursts of 2-3 minutes and then you stop. It's not the consistent kind of cardio, relentless, over hours, pushing yourself, unless you're talking about training. But I was a lot younger when I did my training, so age comes into it, muscle memory of what your muscles already know, and this was polar opposites for me. But I'm proud of myself for doing it. I was, between you and I was absolutely done by the time lunch came around.
I could have gone then and still felt like I'd been pushed to my limits. So my body wasn't really what I would consider working anywhere near 100% for the rest of the afternoon. You know, it would seized up, there were pains, and I certainly was far from being the fastest or the strongest. But I didn't stop. I mean, sometimes my running left a lot to be desired, but I didn't stop. And that was another thing that today was about mind over muscle, about giving it just, not necessarily about the destination, but about breaking things into manageable steps and just doing a couple of steps more, just giving that 1% or 2% more. So never was my mind over muscle more challenged than on the way back home. We'd been drinking water all day. I made sure I went to the ladies just before I set off in the car, and about 15 minutes into the journey home, I was desperate to go to the toilet, and there was nowhere on my way home to be able to do that. I was scanning the hard shoulder, looking to see if I could pull in and jump into a bush somewhere. I mean, it got to the point where I was in so much pain that I got a plastic bag and sat on the bag, and then I got my towel from my rucksack and kind of wedged that underneath me and thought, I'm just gonna go sitting here in the car as I'm driving, and it will be what it will be, and that's what I'll do. But my body wouldn't let me do that. And then I realised I was about 9 miles from the next services, so I did a lot of mind over muscle talking to myself by the time I got to the services. Walking to the toilets, goodness knows what I looked like. But yeah, everything was fine. I didn't need to go in the car. But yeah, so these tools from today are designed not only in a physical capacity, but they're designed to help you throughout all of your life, relationships, scenarios, work, home, lots and lots of different practical ways of thinking. It's stuff really that we all, I think, inherently know somewhere deep in ourselves, but the brilliant things about Ant Middleton and other life coaches and experts like that is that they manage to narrate it in such a way that it makes sense to you, whilst also drawing from their own experiences. So it was incredible. It was incredible. I'm not sure I would do it again, to be honest. But that's just me. I've got scrapes, I've got bruises, but it's all good. It's all good. I'm not 20 anymore. But I challenged myself. I went there on my own. That ended up being not a problem at all. Everybody was so lovely. Got chatting to lots of people, lots of whom had really inspirational stories. And I take my hat off to everybody who was there today, and thank you for letting me be part of it, for being part of Team Yellow. Yay! If you see these dates come up next year, you can follow Ant Middleton on Instagram, Twitter. If you see dates come up for Mind Over Muscle Day Camp, do it. Do it. It's for every range of fitness. It's not about anybody else, it's about you. And I would highly recommend you do it. And have some neuro friends standing by afterwards.
This is my truth. Tell me the truth. Tell me my truth. Tell me what the truth feels like. This is my truth.